but I've decided that I'm going to cut my quilt. Some of you may or may not remember this quilt that is now on my bed, and it was one that I made many years ago, but I didn't finish until like last year. And it is a string quilt, scrappy, that I made out of leftover fabrics when I had a fabric business. If I got to the end of the bolt, I took, if it was less than a half yard, I just kept it, cut it into strips, and made this quilt. But I made this quilt with the intention of it being on a king size bed. And I wanted it oversized. Well, here it is on my queen size bed. And it's actually turned 90 degrees. If it were on the king size bed, this would be the top of the bed, like where the pillows are, and the other side would be the foot of the bed, and it would go side to side because it's wide. But as you can see, on my queen size bed, it's long. It's very, very long. Or if I turn it the other way, it's very, very wide. So, this morning, when I was making my bed, I got thinking to myself, I don't need this extra. It's a pain in the butt when I make the bed. If I turn it the other way, it goes to the ground. I like it. That works a little bit. That's how I was using it, because it would all go all the way to the floor, and then I couldn't see what was under the bed. But it's very heavy, and I have made a decision, and it's a scary decision. But I've decided that I'm going to cut my quilt. Yeah. So if this makes you queasy, here's your trigger warning. I'm going to take this set of big shears, and I'm going to cut. Let me show you what I'm going to cut. So each square has this dark brown line through it, and that's the finished square. Then when you put them together, they make these X's and diamonds. What I've decided to do is to cut off 2 rows of blocks here all the way across. And that will make my quilt. Hi, Lily. Turn it under. Let me turn it under. So that will basically make the quilt that long. Oops. That long. So it will still go to the head of the bed, put pillows on top, all the things. Right? Right. So let's do this. Are we ready? This is my plan. I'm just going to take my big shears. I am going to cut right along this seam line all the way across. Then, as soon as the cat stops knocking the tripod about, hey, cat, meow. I am going to, this has a very scrappy binding on it because that's how I did it, just used whatever fabric. So I'm just going to make more scrappy binding and rebind this edge and probably pull the binding down a little bit down here on the side so that I can make it all work, make it all go together beautifully. And hopefully nobody will ever know, well, except for you and I and anybody else who watches this video. But I'm going to try to make it as inconspicuous as possible. And then I have plans for what to do with the part that I'm cutting off. So take a deep breath. I'm going to cut this. Oh, this is scary. You still with me? Okay, it's done. No, I have to rebind the edge, but I'll do that. Let's take this into the other room and I'll show you what I have in mind to do with this big part that I just cut off. Okay, let's go. Recently, while helping my friend Anne at her house and her cleaning out her art studio, she gave me a fun little packet of things. And what they were these little birds cut from antique quilts. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do something with those. I don't know what, but I'll figure it out. I started by slow stitching and putting all kinds of little fun. These have some little flowers, a little bit of tea-dyed rickrack for a wing, just more little flowers and other little stitchings. And that has been a lot of fun. Little piece of lace for a wing. And then I've backed them with a little bit of seersucker and edged them with blanket stitch. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, about half a dozen or less of these, and they've been a lot of fun, and I have more to do. But my plan for these, now this one I put a little hanging loop on. I thought, oh, that would be cute to hang, you know, on a Christmas tree or somewhere. But then that got me thinking. So I want to make more of these little birds. And why? Because I want enough that I can make an entire bunting. So, but I thought, well, the dozen or so that I have here from Anne are not quite enough to make a robust enough bunting. So I was going to cut, well, I made a template from tracing the birds that I had. And I was going to trace more onto some kind of backing fabric and just slow stitch collage onto them to add to them. That was my first thought. And I still may do a few of those. Or kind of, I don't know. This little project can become a lot of things. But then I had the idea about cutting the top row off of this quilt. So now I can make all the birds. So now I am thinking I can take my little bird template and place it on different places on here, trace it, and cut it. I can do it in all kinds of different directions, all different fabrics, and have a plethora of bird shapes from different places on this quilt. And the one drawback is that these are more antique and more pastel on most of them, and this isn't. But I think if I mix them up enough, it'll be fine. So that's where we're going next with this. The question now is, do I be picky and like particular and place it and trace it and cut it? Or do I go for complete haphazard, just try to fit as many on a section as I can? I don't think I'd use that section because I have such wide pieces. but do it from the back side and then just get whatever I get. Let's do that on this end. Let's flip this around. This out of the way. Because this side has more variety, smaller, narrower strips. It has a little different in color. So I think just to see what happens, let's just put this here on the back. I'm also going to make my birds go both directions so that they're not all going to hang on the wire the same way. Because the ones that I have, some sing that way and some sing that way. So I want the same with the new ones. Oops. Okay, let's cut these out and see what we get. I'm not even going to turn it over. I hope these scissors are, yeah, these are going to be sharp enough. I mean, I know they're sharp enough. I don't know if didn't know for sure if they were strong enough. Okay, I'm just going to kind of, excuse me. Okay. What I think I'm going to do with these from my quilt is I am just going to, since they've been long-armed quilted and they have batting in them and backing on them, I am just going to, I might throw like a couple stitches here and there, decorative stitches on them, but for the most part, all I'm going to do with these is blanket stitch around the edges, because if I'm going to make a bunch of them, I need to slim down my process a little bit to make it go a little quicker. Okay, well, should we do both of them before we flip them over? I think so. Who knows what I decide to do with those little scraps, but you know I'll figure something out. Okay, here's our two little birds. And, hold on. Okay. Here are our two little birds. Let's see what we got when we flip them over. Ooh, a little blackbird situation. Oh, that's fun. So these are fun. I think I'm gonna, well, I think I'm gonna do a little both. We'll cut a bunch and yeah, I'll come back with a pile. I don't know how many. We'll figure that out in a minute too. Once I got all of the little birds stitched around the edges, then I needed to make some kind of string or something to string them on, something to attach them to. I was going to just cut or rip some strips from an old sheet, because old sheets are where it's at when it comes to reusing and upcycling things. But then I remembered that I had all of this fabric. And it's actually almost a bolt. I've taken it off the cardboard when I brought it home. But this is just a little ditzy print, little calico print of a moda that I had from when I had my fabric store in 2008. So it's been around for a while. Actually, there are 4 different bolts of this similar. If you go back to my clothespin apron video, you will see this plus a larger scale print. And then there's another scale in this kind of light blue and pink. And then I have a yellow one from the same line. I had given them to my mother after I closed my store because she was making quilts for prayer quilts for church. Well, she didn't use them, and I kind of reclaimed them. Anyhow, that's the origin story. So how am I making these strings, if you will, to hold the birds, to make the bunting? Well, this is one I have already pressed and folded, and I'm just folding it like I would if it were a bias strip. I cut these on the straight grain because they don't need to flex around any corners or any curves, and I folded the centers in, and then I folded them in half. I used my little bias tape makers. This made making them real easy. If you don't have these, it's not hard. Just take your plain one, fold it in half, press it, and then fold each edge in toward the center press, and then press it off. Easy peasy. So I think these are 1 3/8 width wide to get this width, which is, let me see, well, it's 1 centimeter. Again, I kind of usually use freedom units or whatever, but some things come in metric, whatever your measurement form is. But anyway, so yeah, 1 3/8 makes 1 centimeter. I don't know, I guess I'm by measural, whatever that is. I don't know, I'm being silly. Anyhow, that's how I made them. Now the first 2 that are hanging over here already that I did, I made 2-inch strips and they finished at 1/2 inch. And after I got them done, I thought they just seemed a little bulky. So that's why I went down to a narrower one. You can also just use pre-packaged, pre-made bias tape in whatever you happen to have lying around, or you happen to have picked up on perhaps a going out of business sale at a major retailer recently. Whatever works for you. So how I'm doing this, like I said, just fold them, press them, and then I'm going to edge stitch along the folded edge, well, you know, the double edge to close them up, and then I'm going to attach the little birds along at whatever measurement works for me. So I'm going to get to stitch these up, and then I'll take you and we'll show you the next step, okay? Cool. Okay, I got this finished. So I have 6 little birds, and on this one I'm going to have them all facing the same way along a row. The other ones I kind of mixed them up a little bit. Whatever works for you. Maybe you have them all going the same way. And I did a little measuring, but I'm not going to math this out like 100 on this. But I've divided it in half, and what I did was this is 2 widths of fabric. So it's about 80, I don't know, 85, 84 inches long. So I've decided to do them 8 inches apart. So here's my center. I'm going to go 4 inches off the center and put my first one on. It's about right there. Here's my first one. And you can put them at whatever angle. I'm just kind of put in the middle of the back, and then I'm just going to clip them and measure 8 inches and clip another one. Okay, once you have them clipped or pinned in place, you can take a look at them and see if they're spaced the way you like them, and you know, if they're in the right, you know, you don't have 2 that are too similar next to each other, whatever. And the way I'm attaching them is so easy, so simple. I am just going to put them under my presser foot and just do a little front and back straight stitch, like a little tacking stitch. And that's it, nothing fancy. Okay, so let me go do that, and then we're done, really. So there you have it. I have another one finished. And you can see, I think, can I get it to focus?
Well, there we go. How it's just tacked. And all these little birds. Now this section of quilt that I used has a lot of the dark stripe in it. So each bird has either a black or a brown stripe in it, almost all of them. So, you know, it is, you get what you get when you're, because I've been tracing these on the back side of the quilt, so I get a surprise when I turn them over. Sometimes I like the surprise and sometimes I don't. But I have plenty more of that piece of quilt that I cut off, and I'm going to see what else I can do with it. I think some fabric quilted boxes, like I slow stitched before. I can make some pretty quick with that because it's already quilted, and I wouldn't even have to line it. Just have to figure out how to finish the edges in a way that I don't have raw edges, but I think I can figure that out. Or maybe I will line it. I don't know. That's another project for another day. But today's project are these cute little birds, and I have the cord twisted, but there we go. I'm not exactly sure where they're going to hang. I made them with the intention and the idea of hanging them over here on the window because I thought they'd be super cute there, and they are. But then I got thinking a string of them would be really cute on one of as a little summer decoration on one of my mantles in one of my other rooms. I have 3 fireplaces, none of them work, but that's okay. So I think as a little summer decoration, that would be super cute. They would be fun and cute. You could make these out of paper if you wanted to, just for a really quick little design. If you have some paper collage or watercolors that didn't work out, trace them, cut them out, and then you have little birds that you could string on just a piece of cord. You know, just some butcher's twine or something like that, macrame twine. And you know, if you were doing it for a party, just staple them on. Boom, Bob's your uncle, you've got some cute little birds. All kinds of things you can do with this shape. So that is my fun little summer decor project. Little birds on a string. And I hope you liked it. And I'm going to play with it more. I haven't done one of these with the original antique birds. Because once I started doing the stitching on them, I was like, oh, I want to be able to see those up close. And I won't say I don't want to waste them, but I want to use them for something else. I'm not sure what. I may just put little ribbons on them. I think I have one that I've already done that with. Yes. I think I might just do little ribbon loops as I'm stitching the backs on, and then they're just little ornaments. And I'm thinking that maybe in the closer to the holiday season, I may make some that are a little more holiday themed with holiday fabrics and for Christmas tree decorations. But even these little quilted ones would be sweet on the Christmas tree. I'm actually envisioning a special holiday tree for my art room here with some of the things that I've made throughout the year to decorate it, and these little birds might be one of those things. So I hope you have fun with this project. I hope you enjoyed watching me do it. I had a ton of fun with it. I've just been so excited about making this, but I don't know if you've been watching me for even like a couple videos. You know, I get very excited about most of my projects. I have had a few duds. You know, I'll be honest, we all do at some point. Anyhow, thanks for being with me. Thanks for watching, and tell me where you would hang your little birdie buntings if you make some. I think they're just sweet. You could, oh, well, no. I was gonna say, oh, wouldn't they be cute on a baby's crib? No, they would not be cute on a baby's crib because they're strings, but maybe way up high on the wall above, along like the curtain rod in a baby's room with the proper colors would be super sweet. Way out of baby's reach. Way, 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 way out of baby's reach. But I don't know. In your kitchen? Tell me where you would hang them, because I want to know. I really do. And anyhow, I'm gonna go, and I think it's 6 or 7 more little birds. So I'm gonna make another hanging string and attach those. And I might cut out a couple dozen more birds because they're really fun to just sit and do the stitching around the edge. and it's a pretty quick project if you have a pre-made quilt. If you don't have a pre-made quilt, they're a great little project for some of your fabric collage and slow stitching as well. So a lot of versatility there. You can use paper, you can use fabric, you can use a pre-made quilt that you want to cut up, you know, something that either you didn't like or something that's got damage somewhere else, some stains on it that you found in a resale shop. Some pre-made, my sister found a really cute quilt last summer at a resale shop, and we thought it might be hand stitched, it might be an antique, and it was like $4, so she bought it. But then when we got home, we took a closer look at it. It was definitely machine made, you know, not machine made, but like from Target or something. So you find something like that, or perhaps you find some like decorative pillow shams that are quilted that you don't have the quilt to go with, or you don't use pillow shams. Cut those apart. I mean, you can find pre-quilted fabric in a lot of places, and have fun with it. Have a lot of fun with it, and I'd love to see what you do. So anyway, thanks for being with me, and I will be back in 2 weeks with something else. Oh, before I go, I'm going to, after I say goodbye, stick around because there's going to be a special new member of the family that I'm going to share with you. And probably by the time you're actually seeing this, the special member of the family, there may be more. And so when that happens, I will share that as well. So stick around at the end and you'll get to meet the latest family member to my house here at Spiral Path Arts. Thanks for being with me. Peace out. Take care of yourselves, and I love you lots. Bye. Y'all, I was just finishing up the video, thought it was done, was going to start downloading things so that I could start editing, and I walked in here for something into my bedroom and realized I have the perfect place for my birds. So let me show you. Okay, Henry, what do you think? He's like, I like birds. Okay, ignore the cat for a second. You can't ignore him. Look at him. He knew he had a camera moment. Okay, here's my quilt. This is the quilt that I cut a couple foot off of to make my birds. And I was thinking, well, I never hung anything over the bed or, you know, on the wall above the bed. The birds would be perfect up there. And I was right. They're absolutely perfect up there. I think they are so sweet. I just love them. I absolutely love them. They obviously match the quilt because they came from the quilt. And I hope you like my mismatched pillowcases because I actually love them. They're all out of leftover quilt fabric from when I had my store, and I made them and embroidered or crocheted lace edges. Maybe someday, if you're interested, let me know. I'll do a video on it. They're really cool. But and then ignore over here my bedside table. That's my next project for today. I have to clean that off, rearrange it, and set up my new CPAP machine. Because your girl has sleep apnea. And I'm hoping I can get some good night's sleep and have some more energy to, I don't know, make more videos and get more work done. Okay, now I'm going to take you to meet the new family member. Thanks for sticking with me.